Have you ever thought an interview was going amazing, only to a few days later get a rejection email? That can actually be avoided. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 signs that the hiring manager has concerns in your interview. Now, why would you want to know that? Well, for the simple reason that if you see real time they have concerns, that gives you an opportunity to address them and perhaps turn your interview around. Let's go. Now, the first major sign that you want to look for is a hiring manager asks you the same question twice in your interview. Now, this isn't they weren't paying attention and then asked you the same thing twice, but rather, let's just say they ask you about your experience and they go, hey, can you tell me about a time that you led a project where the teams were cross-functional in nature? And you give an answer and they go, okay, maybe you can dig a little bit deeper for me. How were the teams cross-functional, and tell me a little bit more about the project you led. Can you tell me a bit about the deliverables? The concern there is that you did not give enough information so that they understood that, yeah, you're meeting the criteria I'm asking about, or your example was off base. It wasn't addressing the question they asked. If you ever have a hiring manager double back and try to reframe a question, it means you did not answer it in the right way. So there are a few things you can do here. You can listen to it and go, okay, I see where I messed up. Let me give more detail, right? And you can give them more details and you can go more in depth. Or you can say, you know, it would appear that maybe I'm missing the point here. Can you help me understand what you would like me to elaborate on? And if you do that, they'll probably spell it out for you, making it a bit easier for you to answer the question. Now, this next example is you ask them the perfect closing question and they say, yes, they have a concern. What is the perfect closing question you ask? Well, that question is a question you ask the hiring manager towards the end of the interview. You say, do you have any questions or concerns about my ability to do the job? If they say no, you express your enthusiasm to taking the job and joining the team and next steps. But if they go, yes, I do have some concerns, they probably have concerns, at which point you have the opportunity to rebuttal the concerns in a grateful, gracious, polite way, like, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, maybe I didn't do the best job explaining this during this interview or in my resume. However, I do have experience with A, B, and C. Well, I was at A, B, and C company functioning as a blank. Let me tell you about it. And that's an opportunity for you to graciously accept their concern, but rebuttal it in a way that doesn't make you come off as offensive. Did they say offensive? I meant defensive. But also don't be offensive. By the way, if you're finding any value in this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps out the channel a ton. It is free. It tells YouTube that I don't suck. And it motivates me to make more videos like this. And if you are already here and you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. That way you never miss one of my 3 free weekly videos that are all designed to help you land your dream job and maximize your career. Now, the next thing is a sign you actually have to look for. And it's when you give an answer to a question, you're looking at the hiring manager, you see them make a face, you see body language, things like, and you can see visually that they're something isn't hitting for them. They're not understanding the alignment, or maybe they're thinking, that doesn't quite get at what I was hoping that you'd get at, or they go, well, and you can hear a little bit of mumbling, a little bit of grumbling, sounds similar to my dog every time I try to pick him up, just a little bit of grumbling or something like that. This seems like, well, Ben, that's really not appropriate. Well, welcome to the world of interviewing. Sometimes things like that happen. But if you pick up on a body language or an audible clue that maybe the answer you give, that you had given wasn't satisfactory, you want to make sure you jump in and clarify, being like, if I'm hearing you, or if I'm reading the situation correctly, maybe I didn't answer that, or I didn't answer exactly what you were looking for. Can you help me understand where I need to clarify? And if you do that, it's going to give you another chance to actually answer the question. It could help you a ton. Now, the next big one is they ask you questions after you answer a question like, you know, I guess I don't see how that is, or maybe you could help me understand why blank, right? But basically, you've given an answer, and now they are digging in. They're digging in like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense to me, and they're asking for clarification. If that goes unaddressed, they are going to have concerns when that interview concludes. So you need to address them. So whenever you hear something like that, that is a clear signal. You need to jump in and clarify and help answer the question in a more satisfactory way. Now, this one is huge. You have an interview, and after the interview, you think it went pretty well. And then you get a ring from the recruiter, and the recruiter goes, hey, I wanted to call you and clarify this. On your resume, it says you have this experience. Is that accurate? Or I didn't see on your resume this type of experience. Have you done any of that? And what that basically is a hiring manager going, hey, I think this is a good candidate, but they didn't have blank. And the recruiter going, okay, well, let me reach out to them and see if I can get more details on that. That right there is an opportunity for you to provide really impressive and thorough information. And if you just go, oh yeah, I've done some of that, that telephone game is not going to be your advantage. When that recruiter goes back to the hiring manager, the message they give them, it is not going to be compelling enough. So make sure you give thorough information. Have you ever interviewed with a hiring manager and they tell you that is a brand new position? Don't accept that role unless you ask these questions. In all seriousness, new roles can be really exciting, but they can also be really risky. And the only thing you can do to protect yourself is ask the questions necessary in the interview to make sure that it would be a good move going there, which is why I made this video. In that video, I give you several questions you can ask to make sure making that move is going to be a healthy move for your career. So I am done here, but I will see you over there.